What's up, Broncos country? Welcome back to the Broncos Podcast Network and YouTube for the latest episode of Broncos Now. Team reporter and host Sydney Jones here and reporting to you from London outside the Broncos pub. Coming up on today's episode, we'll hear from head coach Nathaniel Hackett, and I'll have the final injury report. Plus, Broncos lead writer Eric Dalala joins the show for a game preview. All that and more on tonight's episode. The Broncos are set to face the Jacksonville Jaguars here in London in just 2 days at Wembley Stadium. Today was the last full day of practice for the Broncos, and the team seemed to have a little bit of extra juice out on the field. Coach Hackett explains why.
Yeah, it's a combination of a lot of things. I think the guys are fired up to get out there and have another opportunity. I think they want to go out there and they want to prove themselves. We've been so close for so many games. It's just been a couple plays here and there, and they want to go out there and make those plays. Coach
Hackett gave an update on Russell Wilson's hamstring injury today and said unless there's any setbacks, they're hoping to see him out on the field on Sunday.
Russell's always going to think he can go. I mean, that's what you love about the guy. He's always going to want to be out there. He's a true competitor. For us, we wanted to be sure we gave him time to be able to get his mind right, his body right, everything. And so just being out here, watching him throw, watching him move in the pocket, you felt a lot more comfortable than last week.
Coach Hackett discussed Russell's last start versus the Chargers and talked about his confidence that he can build off of that.
Just focusing on those basics and those fundamentals. I think that's what we did great in that beginning. He was able to get some completions early, and I think he's had a bunch of them in a row. I think it was about 9 or 10 in a row to a bunch of different guys, and we just want to continue that. We want to spread the ball around. We want to be efficient and take the shots when we can take them.
As the team's bye week follows Sunday's game at Wembley, Coach Hackett says this is a must-win game.
Yeah, I mean, we just want to win the football game. Doesn't matter what spotlight we're in right now. We want to go out there, execute as a team, and play at a high level. In this situation for us, especially before a bye, it'd be great to get a win. It's going to be a heck of a challenge. Jacksonville is a very good football team, and it's going to take all of us.
And as we wrap up the top news of the day, let's take a look at today's injury report. The Broncos will be without cornerback Isang Bassi, safety Caden Stearns, tackle Cam Fleming, wide receiver Tyree Cleveland, and outside linebacker Baron Browning as Coach Hackett ruled them out today. Defensive lineman Mike Purcell, quarterback Russell Wilson, inside linebacker Josie Jewell, and cornerback K'Wan Williams were all full participants at practice. Now joining me on the show today is Broncos lead writer Eric Dalala. We are here at the Harrow School where the Broncos are practicing this week. Eric, appreciate you joining me.
Sydney, I like what you've done with the studio here.
Yeah, looks nice. Wow. Podcast outside.
Do it wherever we
Wherever
need to.
we want. Well, Eric, how's your week in London been so far?
It's been great. This is a really cool experience for the Broncos, obviously, to spend some time out here practicing at the Harrow School. Winston Churchill went here.
Yeah, this school's
Pretty cool.
awesome.
A good team bonding experience. But,
for sure.
You know, it's also just cool for us to be out here for a week with the team.
Absolutely.
Hard to get better than that.
Definitely. Well, Eric, looking at this matchup, first and foremost, let's talk about Russell Wilson. He's been limited at practice all week. What would it really mean for this team if we were able to get him back for Sunday?
Yeah, it sounds like Russell Wilson is trending in the right direction to play on Sunday, and that would be a huge boost. I know Russell Wilson at times has not played kind of to the level that we would expect from Russell Wilson. This offense still ranks last in scoring in the NFL. But he's still Russell Wilson. We've seen what he can do at times. You think of the start to that Raiders game, the start to the Chargers game. That's what he looks like when he's at his best. And maybe having a week off here gets him a little bit healthier. The Broncos offense gives them a chance to score some points here. And again, I think from a leadership perspective, it gives the team a boost to have one of their captains back, to have a Super Bowl champion under center. And that's no disrespect to Brett Rippon, but Russell Wilson has this kind of gravitas, and so to have him back would mean a whole heck of a lot for the Broncos.
Eric, we heard from general manager George Paton earlier this week. He spoke to the media, and he talked about the Broncos' record right now being 2-5 isn't exactly obviously where he had hoped to be, but he stands by head coach Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson. He said he has confidence in them and confidence that this team can turn things around.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's getting late a little bit early here. The Broncos have to find a way to start winning football games, and that was my major takeaway from George Paton's press conference, was that it hasn't been good enough. This doesn't meet anybody's standards. Everybody's disappointed, but they're not just giving up on this season. Like you said, he still believes in Nathaniel Hackett's ability to lead this team. He brought up specifically the way that Nathaniel Hackett has kept this building together here over the last few weeks. The Broncos have lost 5 games essentially in heartbreaking fashion each time.
Been really close games.
Yeah, so not easy for a coach to lead his team through that. So with Nathaniel, I think that's what we see there. And then Russell Wilson, listen, as I mentioned, they know what he's capable of. They know what they signed up for when they traded for him, when they gave him the new deal. They still believe in Russell Wilson. George Payton said they have to do a better job of putting guys in position to succeed around him. Obviously, Russell needs to play better as well. But what stood out to me, too, is this is not a 7-game decision. This is not a 7-game referendum on Russell Wilson. This is a long-term thing for the Broncos to find out how to get things right with Russ and around Russ. And so hopefully they take a step forward toward that this week.
Yeah, things take time for sure.
Of course.
Well, Eric, we mentioned Russell Wilson and what you hope to see from him on Sunday, but looking at this offense as a whole, what do you specifically hope to see them do against this Jags defense that, is still kind of finding their identity and is a little bit up and down?
Yeah, you mentioned identity there. I think the Broncos have to find their own identity. George Payton mentioned that, that the Broncos need to figure out what they're good at, what they need to be good at. I think especially with Russell Wilson, if he does play coming off a hamstring injury, you need to run the football well. The Broncos did that in the first half against the Jets here last weekend. It feels like a long time ago.
It does feel like a long time ago.
But I think they need to stick to that. I was talking with offensive coordinator Justin Outen the other day and asked him, hey, how can you kind of carry that success over for a full game? And he said it's definitely something they have to figure out how to do. So run the football well. Take advantage of your opportunities. Make these game-winning plays. When you have an opportunity to go up and make a catch, you got to make it. When you have an opportunity to put the pedal down and kind of step on someone's throat up 10-0, you got to be able to do it. And so that's what you need to see from the Broncos offense.
Well, looking at this Broncos defense, as we know, they've been playing at an exceptional level. But I want to talk about the Jags running back, Travis Etienne. He's really seemed to get his groove in the past couple of weeks. Obviously, he's coming off, that season-ending injury last year, and it looks like he's really finding who he is in their offense. How do you hope to see them kind of slow him down?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to do the same thing that you did against Breece Hall, against Austin Eckler. Now, obviously, Breece Hall had the 62-yard touchdown run, so you cannot allow that to happen.
Right.
But I think the Broncos have been pretty good overall at slowing down these backs, especially ones that are kind of a dual threat. Especially in college, Etienne was that dual runner receiver. The Broncos have to find a way to contain him. And, Trevor Lawrence, a really good player. But, again, I think with a young quarterback against a defense like this, the more you can put teams in 3rd and long and force a young guy to try to make things happen on his own, that's when you're going to find success. And, obviously, Lawrence has struggled a little bit at times with turnovers. The Broncos' defense, George Payton said, they've got to be better there. They've got to force more takeaways. So the game plan, like it is every week, has to be stop Etienne in the run and then force the quarterback to make plays.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence has looked a lot more confident this year in his second year. Last one here for you, Eric. This team has a bye week right after this game. So how important is a win this weekend just for the confidence of this team?
Yeah, I mean, I think from a playoff perspective, you've got to start getting wins here in a hurry. You've got to go on a run. Nathaniel Hackett, I can't remember if it was last week or earlier this week, but he said at some point every team goes on a run or has to go on a run to make the playoffs. The Broncos have to get on that run now. You got the bye week. You've got a couple of winnable games there kind of after the bye. But I think it's really important for this team to just get out of this losing skid. You don't want to sit here for 2 more weeks and dwell on what would then be a 5-game losing streak.
For sure.
Obviously, the trade deadline coming up. A loss, I don't think, helps in terms of if the Broncos are deciding whether to send guys out or not.
Yeah.
George Payton said it wouldn't. Really. But, getting a win, getting some positive vibes back in the building around this team, I think would mean a lot. And then, we'll see what happens after the bye. But certainly, no one would have even expected to be 3-5. But that would feel a heck of a lot better. than 2-6.
Definitely, should be a fun one. Regardless, on Sunday at Wembley, excited to see the atmosphere there. But Eric, appreciate your time today.
You got it. Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Well, that'll do it for today's episode of Broncos Now. Broncos Country, thanks so much for tuning in today and every day. I hope you loved our content from London out here. But since the bye week follows Sunday's game, there will be no new episodes of Broncos Now until week 9. I'll see you guys then.